military brat even mean? Like, am I a brat? Hey guys, and how are you all doing today? If you are new to this channel, then I am Abby. It is so nice to meet you. So today I'm going to be talking to you about what life is like as a military brat. I am personally an army brat. So let's get right into the video. Today, I just wanted to talk to you all a little bit about how I grew up as a military brat. I wanted to make this video for all of you who wanted to know a little bit more about me, or for those of you who maybe didn't grow up this way or did and have something in common. So growing up as a military brat has many pros and cons. For instance, one of my favorite things about it is that we moved around a lot, and that's also one of my least favorite things about it. So I will give you a little bit of backstory on my family and how exactly everything went with that. Let me find out my phone here. And this is so long that I had to have my mom type everything out because I just lost track of where they've lived and where I have lived myself because there's so many different places. So my dad joined the Army in 1993, and from there he went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for 9 weeks of basic training, which is boot camp for the Army. From there he went to Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana, and did advanced training for 8 weeks, and then from there he went to Fort Benning, Georgia, did airborne school for 3 weeks. So after 5 months, him and my mom moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and Dad was an airborne engineer unit there for 12 months. He applied for officer candidate school, and so the way my mom likes to tell the story is, so they're now in Fort Bragg, right? My mom was expecting, and she hands my dad the pregnancy test and is like, positive, yay, like we're gonna have a baby. My dad hands her the OCS papers, officer candidate school, and he's like, I'm going to officer candidate school for a good amount of time, and I'm gonna be gone, you're having a baby, and you're gonna have this baby when I'm gone. And she was like, okay, like you have to go, otherwise we won't have enough money to support this baby. So that baby was my sister, Allison. She is 26 years old, I believe. 25, 26, I should know that. She's 26, I think. So he was selected to attend, and my mom found out she was expecting my sister, and she moved to Colorado with my dad's family to have my sister, while my dad went back to Fort Benning, Georgia for 3 months and missed 3 months of OCS, missed my sister's birth. My sister was born in Colorado in March of 1995. They went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for 6 months of training, and then assigned back to Fort Benning. That is when I was born, and I lived there for 3 weeks when I was born, and then we moved again. And after that, we moved to Fort Meade, Maryland. So that's where my story begins, is Fort Benning, but technically Fort Meade, Maryland, because I don't remember Fort Benning at all. So as you can tell, that was already 4 or 5 different places back and forth that my parents went before I was even born, and that was over the course of a couple of years. Very fast paced, 3 weeks here, a couple months there, back and forth, and that was them at the very beginning. And then I was born, and my sister was born. So from that on, after Fort Meade, Maryland, we lived in, Georgia, Fort Meade, Maryland, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Fort Drum, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Stuttgart, Germany, Fort Knox, Kentucky, and that's where I've been. So Kentucky is the 8th place I've lived. I've stayed in Kentucky, and then my parents went on to go to the Pentagon up and hang out there, and now they finally moved back here. And my sister still lives up in Maryland because she moved up there to get a job with them and hang out with them up there and get to know the DC area after college. So she's still up there with her boyfriend. So basically, when you are a military brat, you lose track of time. You don't know where you're moving. You don't know where you're going. You move every 2 to 3 years. That's what we did anyway. I know some people move more, some people move less, but that was an extremely, extremely challenging thing to go through as a really shy child. And I was very introverted, very shy. Didn't like to talk to people when I was little. Didn't like to be the new kid, and I was the new kid every 2 years, every 3 years. So was my sister, and she is a lot more outgoing than me, but it was still hard for her too. And we had each other. We hung out as a family, and that's what we did. Like, we would make friends and then we'd leave. And so it's a very hard way to grow up. But because of that, I've become very social, outgoing, able to get along with multiple different people, very good with people, able to walk into situations, not scared anymore to walk into situations. It's really made me a way better version of myself, and things have turned out for the better for me. Personally, it really broke me out of my shell. Being a shy kid, I was grateful for that, and I didn't realize that probably now until I'm 23 years old and I'm in my 20s, and I'm finally realizing like, okay, like that's what I needed to be where I am today. But that being said, growing up in the military isn't easy. This is not. And we were really lucky because my dad was not deployed more than one time. He was deployed to Iraq for 1 month, and that was his only deployment. Now, he was gone on TDY or other trips for the military that they don't call deployment, but basically months at a time. So he was gone for 2 other 1 month trips to Korea and Romania. And like, he missed my sister's birth, obviously. He missed my first communion. He missed proms, birthdays sometimes, just like things that were really important. And your dad's not there, and it's hard. And it's obviously not his fault, but it is difficult. It's a difficult lifestyle and difficult way to live. It's nothing. My story is nothing compared to my mom's story. The story of an army wife is beyond what I could imagine. And she went through so much by herself. And my parents are obviously still together. My dad has been in the army for 27 years, which is awesome. He's now a colonel at Fort Knox in Kentucky, and I think he's gonna stay in a couple more years. He's getting a new job on Fort Knox. He's super excited about it. So he's made a career of it. I know a lot of people will join and then get out later on, and some people do that, that's okay. But he really did make a career of it, and it's crazy to see that, and I'm so proud of him. It really does instill in you this sense of patriotism, just being proud and being so grateful for what you have, being at all these military schools on base and seeing these kids whose dads or moms didn't come back from deployment or didn't have their parents around and they were always deployed. It's just awful to see, but it really does make you realize what you have so good. It's really harsh reality, but it's very necessary to appreciate what you have, I think. And you realize what they do on a day-to-day basis, and it's not easy. It's not easy being in the military. So shout out to all of you who are in any branch of the military. It's hard work. No matter what job you do, it is hard work, and you have to be a fighter. You have to be a fighter. And if there's anything that my dad has taught me, it's to be a fighter. You have to have that mentality. Like, I remember growing up, he was very strict, as most military parents are, and my mom was as well. And so on the weekends when all my friends were sleeping in, or you know, they'd be like, oh, I slept until 10, 11 o'clock today. I'd be like, yeah, my dad had me up at 7 a.m. this morning. He would come in and throw off the covers and be like, get up, soldier, every weekend for the most part. And that was our life. It was, let's go. Like, it's order, it's discipline. Like, we're doing this. Like, we have a schedule. We're not breaking it. And because of that, I'm rarely late. I'm usually on time, always on time to work. Sometimes meeting friends, I'm not as great about it, but it instills in you that like, oh, we like gotta get this done, gotta go, be a fighter, be on time, on top of things, organized. It's really important to have that. Until my dad's job, so he was in the 82nd Airborne, well, he still is 82nd Airborne, and so that means he was a paratrooper, and he would jump out of airplanes. He's still a paratrooper, but he no longer jumps out of airplanes. He did that for a couple of years, and then he had a back injury, so he's unable to do that anymore. Once a paratrooper, always a paratrooper is what he says. So he's 82nd Airborne, and now he has another job at Fort Knox, where obviously he's not jumping out of airplanes or doing anything like that, but he does personnel work there, and he loves it. But it was crazy moving to a place so small. We moved to a really small town in Kentucky. Whenever I hit 6th grade, I ended up in Kentucky, Bardstown, Kentucky. And it's a small town, and it's beautiful. The people there are so nice, extremely welcoming, very great. I was super shy, awkward 6th grader, and they really took me under their wing. But it was coming into a place where people had known each other since preschool, literally since preschool. Like, they had their best friends since preschool, and I never had a friend more than 2 or 3 years at a time. And it was like that harsh reality, realizing like, wow, like I did not have that, and I wouldn't have. And it's hard to keep long distance friendships up and relationships, and you know, it's like I didn't have that. Like, I don't know anyone past like now probably 6 or 7 years is the longest I've known anyone. And I remember like my boyfriend now is from Bardstown, and he would talk about his friends and how, oh yeah, like we went to preschool together, and I remember when they were sitting across from me and so ate this snack and we laughed about it. And I'm like, you remember that? Like, everything's a blur for me. and I don't remember the friends I had then because they're not the friends I have now. And it's that crazy fast-paced life. We did live in Germany right before we came to Kentucky, and in Germany we got to travel a lot. I was in 3rd through 5th grade there, and so I was still really little, but I wish I could have enjoyed it more. We went to we went to Italy, France, Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, all over, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, all over the place there. We visited a lot of different places, and it was so exciting and so new. And of course, at the time as a kid, you're terrified of all these new places, but I would love to go back, and it really has instilled in me this need to travel, this want to experience new things, new cultures, different ways of life. I have always been wanting to be rooted in one place. And sometimes I get this weird feeling that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to leave, I need to go. I need to go somewhere, I need to travel, I need to go somewhere. And I think that's where it comes from, because it's that even though you hated it at the time, it really instilled in you that like change is a normalcy almost in your life, and you need it to grow, you need it to prosper, to become a better version of yourself. You need it. And so the thought of living in Kentucky for the rest of my life, which is what I plan to do, sometimes seems scary because I've never done that. This is the longest I've been anywhere in my life, and I've been here since 6th grade, so it's been a good amount of time. It's just a crazy way to live, a crazy way to grow up, and there were all these cool things about military bases. My sister and I loved, and we still love, like the Shopette, the PX, absolutely love those places, the commissary, and on the military bases that we lived on, I don't know if people know this or not, but you would, around 6 o'clock, I believe, every day, the flag would be pulled down, the American flag on base, and you would have to stop where you are and put your hand over your heart. They would play, I think, taps, maybe? Don't quote me on that, but it was just always in honor of, you know, America and how great it is and how much our country means to us, and it has really instilled in me that love for my country. So what we have summed up in this video is 1 pro, you get to experience different cultures, different ways of life, and different people. 2, con, you have to move all the time and leave friends, and you're stuck with your family. 3, pro, you're stuck with your family. You're super close with your family. It's great hanging out with them, and they're your best friends. My sister is my best friend to this day. She's the only one who knows everything that I've been through, and same with her. It's such a unique experience. And my parents both love them so much, and I would go to them about anything to this day because they were my best friends. They had to be. That's what we had, was each other. Another con would be when your parent is deployed. Obviously, that's awful, missing big parts of your life, you know, prom, birth, it's a pretty big one. Things like that, you know. It's very important to be there for those things, and sometimes you miss them. So yeah, there's lots of pros and cons to being a military brat. I'm curious to know if other branches of the military feel this way too, like if they're all like this. I would assume not just the Army is like this, so tell me, comment below if you're a military brat and if your experience was really similar or if it was totally different. I want to hear everyone else's different experience, because I don't run into very many people in this area that have a parent that was in the military their entire life. So yeah, I hope that this video helped you learn a little bit more about me, and it was so great talking with y'all today. I will see you next time. Bye. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you could relate to it. Maybe you're a military brat yourself, or maybe you know someone who is, or maybe you have lived somewhere for a really long time and are one of the lucky ones. So if you liked this video, then make sure to hit that like button below. If you liked this video, then please make sure to hit that like button below and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all next week. Have a great week. Bye. One thing that you need to know about being a military brat is you always own way too many American flag, America Associated, or military shirts. For no reason. For no reason. Hey guys, and how are you all doing today? So today